the quality of peer pressure is dependent on the person that is giving it to you. There are some people whose peer pressure is, hey man, you've been slacking a lot lately, and I know you could do better.
Human nature is you don't know what you have till it's gone. Every time I get sick, it's like, oh my God, why don't I wake up every day and be like, thank you so much for my health? And every time you get sick, you're like, damn, I took it for granted. I think human nature is just that. So just try your best to stay grateful and realize that most people might react nonchalant to you, but you might be inspiring them a hell of a lot more than you know.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1663, Freestyle Friday. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Today, for episode number 1664, are you actually doing it for yourself? It can be very empowering. It can feel very empowering. I broke my new pen already.
It's devastating news.
Yeah, it's the special pen that goes with a special notebook, and I broke the clip off already.
I just got these new pens, and if you break the clip off, you're in trouble because you can't.
It's dagger.
Huh?
Does it become like super sharp?
No. I always have my pen. This
on your notebook.
Useless information, but I have it on my notebook like that.
I don't know why we started this way, but I grabbed my pen. That's why.
If
and
you
then it
break
becomes
the
useless.
little clip off, it becomes very useless.
Yeah, it becomes useless.
It's unfortunate. So I love these new pens.
Yeah, likewise. Also love pens. Huge fan of pens and writing instruments just in general. Any kind.
This episode brought to you by pens.com.
Pens. Nextlevelpens.com. All right. I know it can feel really empowering to say, oh, I did that for myself. I left that relationship because I knew it was toxic. I got that new job because I knew it would be what was best for me. I lost that weight for me. I got more comfortable in my own skin. I got healthier, whatever it is. But if you dig down and dig down and dig down and dig down, maybe you get to the point where you realize you didn't do it for yourself. And I would even say at the beginning of this journey, I like to think that I left my job and started this for myself, but I wouldn't have done it in the way I did if I didn't have a business partner like you. That wouldn't have happened. It would have been different. You were there. You were waiting for me in a way. So yeah, I did it for me, but I also did it because I knew you were there. I did it not as much for you as me, but 80-20 for sure. And it's just important for me to admit that, because when you're wrong about one thing, you're wrong about everything. We talked about that recently in one of our very philosophical episodes. But this was an episode that you brought to the table. Now I dropped my pen. So I figured I will kick it over to you to add the value.
The first thing that I want to share is
That's interesting. The first thing, Alan and I are in very, very giggly moods. We met this morning to record, and then we spent an hour and a half just talking, and we didn't record the episode, so we had to push it till later.
So here we are, which honestly might happen again if we keep
it might
this
at
up.
this rate, yeah.
So I think it's empowering to own the truth, and the truth is we do things for ourselves and for others. And I think the heart-driven among us, myself included, we do more for others. We will do more for others than we'll do just for ourselves. That's why getting a personal trainer can be so powerful. You'll show up to the gym because you don't want to let them down more than letting yourself down. All of us let ourselves down more than letting other people down. I always use this analogy. I hope that it lands. If you want to do a 5K or a half marathon and you invite your friends and family and they're either doing it with you or they're there to take pictures at the finish line, like, you're going to show up more than if you just do it by yourself. Yeah. It's better together. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's empowering to own that about yourself. I can't even tell you how much of me, my mind, body, heart, and soul gets recruited when I see Emilia struggling. I will rally for our family. You not being able to get Taryn Christmas presents. Dude, after that, you rallied to make money. Sure. And even with the NLU team, too, it's not just about us anymore. It's about them and their families, too. So there's something that happens to you when you start to really embody and be on a team that matters. And I think the sports teams that we grew up in, soccer, basketball, field hockey, whatever it is, you did show up to practice and work harder for the team. You did put in that extra effort behind the scenes for the team. You did go to that speed camp or whatever it is to make sure that you don't let down the team. Now, part of that is you don't want to be embarrassed in front of your peers. Part of that is competitive spirit of you don't want to be the worst on the team. And the other part of that is the heart-driven part of I want to do this for more than just me. This is bigger than just me. And I hope we can all cultivate that. So the story that brought this up, I was on a coaching session recently, and the person out there listening to this, you'll know who I'm referring to, but I'll keep it anonymous as always. And she was talking about a toxic relationship that she had in the past. She had her first marriage was very, very toxic. And as she was describing it, I had this moment during the coaching, and keep in mind, coaching's very ping-pongy for me. I'm constantly figuring out what to poke, what not to, figure out what can come of it. And so I interrupted her, and I said something along the lines of, what happened right before you left him that was why you really did it? Who was the person that you loved or the thing that you loved that... I think I said person. I said, who was the person that you loved that was suffering that made you finally cut the cord? She's like, no, I did it for me. And I could tell that she was triggered. I said, okay, fair. And then she kept telling the story. She kept telling the story. And then she goes, right in the middle of the story, she goes, Oh, I didn't do it for me. She tells the story. She had a dog that she adored, that she adopted, that she was afraid was going to suffer with her toxic ex relationship. And there's a lot more to this, and I won't air all of it just because we don't have time, even though this person wouldn't mind me sharing this. The point that I'm making, though, is she fell so head over heels in love with this dog. And when she realized that that was going to create a toxic situation for the dog, she then had the courage of, I can't raise this dog in this environment. I need to get out of this. And that's when she rallied in courage and finally, started to bide her time and behind the scenes make everything right and eventually got out of it. And believe it or not, the husband that she has now, who I can tell is nothing short of a magnificent man from what I can tell so far, she actually met because of this dog. And there's a whole story underneath that too, but it was really cool to see her light up when she talked about her dog. So the dog had passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately, but it lived a long, happy, healthy life, and her new marriage wouldn't have happened for two reasons without Pebbles. Pebbles is the name of the dog. And she wanted to adopt Pebbles, didn't want to adopt Pebbles into a toxic situation, so she got out of that marriage. Then she ended up meeting her new husband because of Pebbles. And so she wanted to believe that she did it for herself, but she is a heart-driven, wonderful person who I think struggles with low self-worth, and she's told me that, so it's not me projecting. And unfortunately, those among us who do struggle with self-worth, Kevin and myself included, we often don't do things for ourselves. We will do more for others than we will for ourselves, and I think that's a beautiful, heart-driven thing. But I also think
be good.
It can be good.
Yeah. I think peer pressure can be positive.
Same, as long as it's the right kind.
Yeah. Yes, right kind, from the right person, in the right way, in the right direction.
Yep.
You and I joke often about I'm the ultimate cat dad and you're not, and I'm not joking about that. That is just a fact. But we joke about how we love our pets and we're cat dads now. And I am better for sure. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Just let it be. Just let it be. It is what it is. I did not get cats because I wanted them. I got cats for Taryn.
Exactly.
100%.
And what? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so grateful I did. I'm so grateful I did. And I went and got allergy tested, and I went through this whole process of getting rid of my allergies so I could do it. And I love my cats. My cats are my little kids. They're my children. But
fur babies.
My fur babies, yeah. I think back to when I lived with Matt. One of the reasons that I was consistent to a fault at that point. I was getting up every day at 4:30. It didn't matter if I went to bed at 1 o'clock. I was getting up at 4:30. It just was that was the season I was in, and I liked it. There was a part of me that liked it, but I knew that if I don't get up, it's going to look bad. I want to be up before him. I want to do my mobility before he gets up. Like, there's a piece of me that really likes that. And then we go to the gym together and we lift heavy weight, and it sucks. But I wouldn't have done it without him. Not like I did. Yeah, I did it for me, but I did it for him as well. When we would diet together, it's like, oh, summer's coming up. Are you going to start tracking your calories? I wouldn't want to. No, I don't want to. But we would. And the other thing, this is the other thing too. Matt is somebody who is very good with budgeting. He's in finance, so he looks at everything. He would come home with like 10 pounds of meat. He'd be like, yeah, it was on sale, had to get it. And he'd throw it in the freezer. And I would come home with Burger King all the time, and he would make fun of me. Gently. He would gently make fun of me, like, Kev, you're wasting so much money. And there were times where I wanted to order food or I wanted to do something, and I knew, he's going to have something to say about this. Not from a negative, he's a terrible person. It was more like, is it really worth that feeling? Is it really worth having that joking conversation? Is it really worth just furthering locking down the identity of I just waste money on fast food all the time? No, it's not. So there were decisions that I made that were as much for him as they were for me. And it's just important, for me, it's just important to understand that, because you can leverage that in some really positive ways if you know how. You and I would have missed an episode by now.
Yeah, I probably would have too.
For sure. I would have missed an episode.
I want to believe that I could have done it. Not like all of this by any means, but be consistent. Yeah. So Emilia and I on our fitness streak, same deal. I want to believe that I could have done it by myself. I just don't think I would have. And I think that that's a cool duality to hold. Is it possible for me to exercise every day by myself without her being on the fitness train? And by the way, the NLU Fit Pick, shout out to Derek, shout out to Alexandra, shout out to some of our listeners who have been crushing it. It started out as a thing that we do together. Emilia and I with the NLU Fit Pick and the Team Evolve moves. And we've been doing it 767 days as of yesterday, and some people are still doing it. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect, doesn't mean you have to exercise every day. It's just something we're doing as a community. And Emilia and I have exercised every day for 767 days, and I want to believe that I could have done that alone. But the truth is, genuinely, I could have done it alone, but I doubt I would have. Just like I want to believe I could have done 1,664 episodes without missing a single one, but I doubt it. I think I could, I just don't think I would have. And you and I
don't think I could have. I genuinely don't think I could have.
Well, that's another level of humility.
Well, no, I just think it's accuracy. I don't think it's humble to tell the truth. You know what I mean?
I think it is. I think that's what humility is telling the truth.
I could have done all this without you.
Obviously.
If anything, you've slowed me down. You've slowed me down.
we were on the monthly meetup. Shout out to anyone who came last night. There was one part that I was just laughing so hard. So good. You talked about how I've been slowing you down, basically, or something. Well,
I was talking about how there was a time where you and I were at a very nice house in California interviewing Brant Pinvidic, and I didn't feel smart enough. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I could add value to the conversation. And that was one of the times where I started my own streak of learning every day for 30 minutes. And then now I'm way smarter than Alan, which is awesome.
Which is
and
just
everybody
great.
laughed, and we had a good time with it. But yeah.
It was fun. And I think I asked you, I said, can you please, I'm going to need you to slow down the treadmill for me.
Yeah, you did.
You need to catch up. But honestly, we have fun.
Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there.
So this idea of wanting to do it just for you, I don't know. There's a reason why our reference group is what determines our future. So if you look at your friends, you'll see your future. That's the thing. And at one point, that would have been very scary for me. I used to not be humble enough to realize this. I genuinely used to have high school friends and college friends and corporate friends, and it didn't really matter what walk of life they came from. And again, everyone's intrinsically equal, but I remember having not enough humility to actually sit there and face the truth of, am I going to be able to achieve my goals and dreams while I also simultaneously surround myself with people who don't value goals and dreams? Maybe they don't value it. And if they don't value it, they might not value you. And I always joke, I say, don't be a rapper at a country concert, especially if the people at the country concert hate rap, because you're going to feel less valuable than you really are. And I don't want anyone to set themselves up for a life where they're constantly valued at less than their true value. And I think that if you surround yourself with people who set a standard, and that's what, Kev, you were really referring to there, whether it was Matt or you or both, you getting up every day at 4:30 in the morning, you're setting a standard, and that helped him grow.
Well, he told me that later. He said that was, and it didn't make sense to me. I was like, how does he get up every day and do it? He said, that always made me want to get my butt out of bed. I was like, well, I'm grateful. But I said, you got to know that I also knew you were getting up. So isn't it wild how one person inspired the other person to inspire that person? Isn't that weird how you can inspire someone to inspire you? You just might not know it yet. And you are. If you have children, you're most likely inspiring the way they do things or they don't do things. We had someone share on the NLU team about how one of their little ones said something about I feel like I'm growing a lot in the video game. I've been grinding it out or something like that. And that's something that we say often. But it's because that person listens to the podcast and their kids listen to the podcast through absorption, right? So that's influence right there.
Yeah, we're all inspiring people. I don't think that it's impossible to be a human being in a network of other human beings and not to rub off on each other. That's impossible. I mean, every book you read, every podcast you listen to, every person you talk to influences you and your decision-making paradigm in some way. And, I remember when COVID happened and you stopped working out, I had a moment with Kev where I said, you used to be the guy, brother. Like, you were my inspiration. You were part of my inspiration. It was only you.
Yeah,
right?
I accept that.
You were part of my inspiration, but you were. It's true. I worked harder because you inspired me. And it was really hard for me to vulnerably share that I kind of lost that.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's come back, so hell yeah. But me sharing that, see, I had the courage to share that, which did two things. One, helped you know that you inspired me. Two, helped you also get your butt back in the gym.
Well, and this is the other conversation we had, and you said this. You said, I wonder if I told you how much you inspired me enough along the way.
I wish that I had, because I don't think I did.
Well, and I think I'm guilty of that, for sure.
Yeah.
Like Alan will get messages from me occasionally. It's just like, hey, man, I love you. I'm grateful for you. You're awesome, or whatever it is. It's just like, it's so easy to lose sight of that.
Yeah.
It's just so like, oh yeah, we recorded how was it today? Oh yeah, Alan and I recorded an episode and this and like sometimes you just forget. It's so easy to forget.
I think it's vulnerable to tell someone that they inspire you. I really do. I think it's scary. I don't know why. I haven't figured that out yet. It almost feels like you're losing your own. It's like you take a cred hit somehow. I don't.
You're really putting yourself out there. One of the best things I ever did, and as a young man in his mid-20s, it was very weird for me to start doing this. But when I would leave my friends, I would say I love you. That was like one of the best things ever. Like I remember like hugging Matt and be like, hey man, I love you. And like that's when we started saying that. And I had other buddies at the time. I was like, hey man, I love you. And like when I get off the phone with certain people, like my friends, I say, all right man, have a great day. I love you. Like that was one of the best things ever. It was one of the best things ever. Because
so then why is that so vulnerable?
I don't know. You think
it's because it gets made fun of? Ultimately, I think a lot comes down to that.
That's probably why it's easier to do it with certain people. Like I'm never worried about saying I love you to you. You're going to say it back. You've never not said it back. I don't. So I think maybe the first time is when it's the most vulnerable because you're really putting yourself out there. Just like when you said I love you to Amelia the first time, I'm sure that was scary as hell.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
I remember saying it to Taryn for the first time.
Yes.
It's like, oh boy, I hope this goes well.
Yeah.
I knew it would, right? It's like when I proposed to Taryn, I didn't think she was gonna. I knew she was gonna say yes, but if I didn't,
It's still scary.
it was scary because I didn't want to mess it up, drop
of
the
course.
ring or whatever.
Right
Leave
down
it to
the
me to
old-
drop it down the drain. Oh, I promise it was It was nice. It was exactly what you
real
wanted.
nice.
But I just think it's one of those things where it's putting yourself out there and you're sharing a deep, deep, deep part of yourself. But even that, sometimes doing it for someone else makes it a little bit easier.
Definitely.
Like
It's
when I
almost like
say-
it's not worth it just for you. It's weird. But
it
there's
might-
the
yeah, it might not
self-worth
be.
issue, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
and
deep.
that's what it is. It's almost like we have this belief unconsciously that if it's just for us, like even this episode, 1664, if it was just for us, this wouldn't be worth it.
Well, it wouldn't
What
have
you
got
creates you. Anthony Truck, shout out to him. That quote. We are creating this podcast for others, but this podcast has also transformed our lives. So it's like a win-win. And it can't. I'm convinced it can't just be about you. If it's just about you, you're going to be unfulfilled. Human beings are social creatures. It needs to be for a greater purpose than just you. It has to.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean you never go to the gym unless you have a personal trainer waiting. You have to find a way to. I've tried really hard to do that. Like when I'm in the gym alone. So Emilia and I usually work out together, but I went to a workout by myself this week, and it's hard to keep as motivated because we push each other. But I still do it. But I connect it to. It's not like I'm doing this just so I look good.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Maybe this is a weird thing that I do, but I'm not in the gym just so I look good. I'm in the gym because I connect it to what I know people need. They need inspiration. They need leading by example. Like when I was a kid, I really looked for someone to look up to. I was always looking for someone to look up to. And I feel like that's ultimately what it comes down to is everyone's always watching. You can tell. There's this one guy in my gym, this one kid who is, Emilia always tells me, because I don't always notice, and guys are weird with this, and maybe girls are too, I don't know. I'm a guy, so guys don't want you to know that they look up to you. Mm-hmm. If anything, they actually ego up around you. It's like a different thing. But Emilia says this all the time. She's like, the guys in our gym look up to you so much. They see how hard you work. They see that you never miss. They see that you're there all the time. Holidays, rain, sleet, snow, or shine, doesn't matter. Like, I just go. Now, it's every other day, because it's not every day, but I exercise every day, but I don't weight train every day. That's my point. But she always says, like, those guys look up to you so much. And in my head, I'm like, I feel like those guys don't even like me. She's like, no, they do. They do. Trust me. And then I'll see evidence every now and then. This one kid was hilarious. I took off, mid-workout, I take off my hoodie, and when I have a good pump and when I'm sweating, obviously.
The pump cover.
Yeah, that. He was like, yeah, man, take off the pump cover, bro. And he got so excited for me. I appreciate you celebrating me, man. I really do. You got to take it easy. But it was just cool to see that, yeah, clearly. Very, very. And I think about when I was his age, of course. I would have been inspired too, because compared to him, I am a monster, even though I don't feel that strong. So I think it's just inspiring other people to inspire other people to inspire other people to inspire other people that's ultimately how all of us get better collectively, and that's how we got here. That's why human progress. I mean, what's the alternative? Just hang out? Like, human progress is inspiring toward aspirations.
Completely unrelated.
Talk to me.
I'm going to take us off the rails.
That's fine.
Okay. When you said the kids look up to me and I recently found evidence, all I could think of was like a movie scene of you walking outside and just getting your ass beat by like all the kids like next to your car and you being like, yeah, they do like me. That's all I could think for some reason. I don't know why. That would be a really good scene in a movie. Imagine that. It's like, no, Yeah, somebody said that they look up to me, and I really feel like I'm starting to see signs of it. And then just cut to the next scene, and they're just kicking your ass by your car.
Well, this is again maybe relevant, maybe not. But
Probably not, most likely, but let's run
we've
it.
all experienced. I think most people have probably experienced when you like a girl or you like a guy, but you don't want them to know. I think that a lot of that happens, even if it's not intimate. So there's this one girl at my gym that Emilia is convinced, like, thinks I'm the hottest thing ever. And
Tough life. Must be a tough life you live down there, huh?
Brother, honestly,
I'm
she doesn't
just
even
kidding.
treat me well. I don't even know what to tell you. Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
funny. But the point is, I'm like, what? Seriously? She's like, yeah. I'm like, she never looks at me. Not like no signs, right? But she's like, it's an energy thing, Alan. You're naive. Whatever. Here's my point. And I told her, I said, sweetheart, because Emilia was attractive in high school. I was not. So I'm like, sweetheart, you got to understand. This is new for me. I'm not used to being the guy. So this is great. This is awesome. But anyways, and Emilia and I have an interesting relationship. So whatever. I love her. She knows that. She's the most secure person in the entire world. So am I. So we're good. And this person doesn't compare on any level whatsoever. But here's my point.
Shout out to them if they're listening. Our sincere apologies.
Yeah. Well, whatever. So here's the point of that, though. People value you more than you know. They do. They value you more than you know. And this is why funerals and wakes are so powerful when you go. It's the legacy is so much more than you know while you're alive. And that's so unfortunate. It really is an unfortunate truth. Human nature is you don't know what you have till it's gone. Every time I get sick, it's like, oh my God, why don't I wake up every day and be like, thank you so much for my health? And every time you get sick, you're like, damn, I took it for granted.
Yeah, of course.
I think human nature is just that. So just try your best to stay grateful and realize that most people might react nonchalant to you, but you might be inspiring them a hell of a lot more than you know.
One of the things in rap very often is giving people their flowers while they're still alive. You get your flowers when you pass away. People throw flowers at your casket, they put them on your tombstone, but give people the flowers they deserve while they're here to receive them.
I agree with that 1,000,000%, my friend.
What is your next level nugget quickly? Your next level lesson, I'm sorry. What is it quickly?
Next level lesson. You are inspiring people more than you know. And the hard work you're putting in will get noticed. And it will not always be positive feedback. It will not always seem like positive feedback. Sometimes negative feedback deep down is someone else's insecurity lashing out, but that means that they're noticing and that they're inspired. If you're doing positive things in the world, even if people react negatively, I promise, deep down, they are watching and you are inspiring people.
My next level nugget is this. The quality of peer pressure is dependent on the person that is giving it to you. There are some people whose peer pressure is, hey man, you've been slacking a lot lately, and I know you could do better. That's peer pressure. Like, hey, if you wanna continue hanging out with us as much as we have been, like, you got to get in the gym, because that's where we hang out. We hang out in the gym. Some peer pressure is really positive. It's aspirational. It's, hey, I know you've been letting it slide in your diet, man. Come on, you're better. Like, you can do this. And the other peer pressure is have another drink or whatever it is. I don't think peer pressure is inherently bad. I just think the person who delivers it is either helping you in the direction you want to go or maybe taking you away from where you want to go. That would be my next level nugget.
Well said, my friend.
I appreciate that very much. Okay, we have a change. So, Tuesday. It's hard because we're in the future with these episodes. So we changed group coaching. Group coaching was going to be on Tuesday, April 9th. We are moving it a week to Tuesday, April 16th. We were very overwhelmed with all the event stuff, and we want to make sure that everything is ready to go, shipshape, and smooth. So it is pushed till the 16th. We will have everything you need to know in the show notes. Everything else is the same. Website's the same. Promo code's the same. All of that happy jazz is the same. But I want to make sure that we announce that. If you are interested, we'd love to have you. What do you have to say, sir?
if you click the link in the show notes to go to the website and you lock your spot, even though the website isn't fully updated. So on the website still says April 9th.
Yeah.
If you lock your spot with promo code NLU listener, it'll be 30% off. It comes to $97 a month for 3 months. And which comes to, because there's 12 sessions, it's bi-weekly sessions, it's less than $25 per session, which is wild. So join us. If you lock your spot now, even though the website's not fully updated, you'll still be, it's a drag and drop. You'll still be locking your spot, yeah.
All right. Tomorrow, for episode number 1665, this is a takeaway we had from our monthly meetup about self-worth, the difference between rules and boundaries. Somebody asked that question, and it's a super powerful question. Amy asked that. Very powerful. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We'll do an episode on that. What
was it Aim who asked that, or was it one of the members that she asked on their behalf?
I'm not certain.
Either way, I butchered it.
Someone asked the question. Shout out to you. I'm assuming whoever it is listens, so shout out to you for whoever came up with the question. Amy asked it on their behalf, or it was her question. But very excited to do that episode. That's a very deep opportunity for an episode. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep inspiring. Next Level Nation.